Now, the drone program is something that has been extensively used by presidents since the Obama administration. Look, the Bush administration actually had used drones, but during the Obama administration, we actually have ramped it up, and we've used it in a lot of undeclared, unsanctioned wars across the world. I mean, again, just send the drones. We don't have to send troops. Troops would be considered an invasion. We just send a drone. And they will do something called signature strikes. I've talked about that before. Now, under the Obama administration, according to leaked 2013 Justice Department memos, approximately 2,300 to 3,400 people were killed in drone strikes. That's what we know. The numbers actually could be much larger. Another memo about U.S. drone attacks from that time estimated that 90% of those killed in those attacks were not actually intended to be killed, and in many instances were actually women and children. So, oh great, not only do we have all these deaths from these drone strikes, these, again, where we haven't actually declared war on these countries, we're just going in, we're just bombing people indiscriminately. 90% of those are women and children. They're not actually terrorists. Wonderful. That is incredibly disastrous. And that was under President Obama. For a president that won a Nobel Peace Prize, it didn't seem very peaceful. Okay. Now, he, of course, continued the wars from George W. Bush and used that drone program. He expanded that drone program and ended up killing 90% of innocent people, right? If you didn't think that was bad enough, wait till you get a load of the numbers under Donald Trump. So Donald Trump, he's got to outdo President Obama on everything, right? So he sees the drone program, he sees these drone numbers, and he's like, hold my beer. Now, according to the human rights groups, Reprieve reports that based on the latest estimates, in the 7 months following Trump's inauguration, coalition airstrikes were estimated to have killed between 2,800 and 4,500 civilians. Reprieve says, quote, "We have uncovered extensive evidence that the U.S. has breached international law and violated fundamental human rights, killing thousands of adults and children in the process, 80% of whom have never even been named." Now, let me give you an example of one of these attacks. Now, this was authorized by President Trump, and in this attack, it saw 23 civilians, including 10 children under the age of 12, brutally killed. This is one of them. And President Trump has authorized hundreds, if not thousands, of drone strikes already. We're bombing the shit out of these countries. Now, do you hear a lot about that? No, it's because nobody cares. Look, mainstream media doesn't talk about it. The MSNBC doesn't talk about the fact that we're in endless wars. MSNBC's all about Russia. Russia, Russia, Russia. You turn on Rachel Maddow, you don't hear about us being in endless wars and killing civilians. No, you hear about Russia. I'm not saying that you can't talk about Russia, but my God, man, you can't just ignore the fact that we are killing innocent civilians overseas, and nobody's talking about it. CNN doesn't even talk about how we're at war. In fact, Brian Williams on NBC, he talked about how majestic our weapons of war are. He gets a thrill up his leg every time he looks at a Tomahawk missile. It's disgusting, right? He doesn't talk about these weapons. He doesn't talk about the human cost of these weapons. Nobody talks about them. In fact, the only people that do talk about them are the politicians when they want to brag about how they love defense. Oh, we got to increase the defense budget because we got to keep America safe, right? We're keeping America safe. I was killing 4,500 civilians in 7 months, keeping America safe. That's not keeping America safe. That's actually creating more terrorism and more death. And yet, Donald Trump, President Trump, wants to call this a win. No, it's a win when we bomb civilians overseas. Because we don't know if they're terrorists. We know what the CIA does. The CIA actually frequently adopts a policy that would classify people as combatants simply for being in an area where they say that enemy activity is taking place. Hey man, you just happen to be in that area. You must be a terrorist. You were holding a shovel. You were at a wedding. And look, there were frequently stories of people that were having weddings in these areas. And yeah, it's stupid, but sometimes what they do during weddings in those areas is they shoot guns in the air. You shoot a gun in the air near a drone, that's it. You're gone. We have bombed so many weddings. We have bombed so many people that are innocent. And then we retroactively say, I don't know, they could have been a terrorist. And we don't apologize for it. I mean, it's disgusting, right? But even more damning than the silence from the media about this is just the American acceptance of endless warfare. We don't even register. We don't even think about the people that are at war. We don't even think about the constant drone strikes that are happening under our watch, that happened under President Obama, that happened under President Bush, and that are now happening under President Trump. We don't think about that. Why? It's because the money. Look at who funds the media. Look at who funds the politicians. A lot of that money comes from the defense contractors. These are the people that in the newest budget got an extra $165 billion. That money does not go to the troops. That money goes into bombs. That money goes right into their pockets, into their bottom lines. This is blood money. And a lot of that money also gets used to buy off our politicians, both Democrats and Republicans. And that's why you have so few Democrats that are actually standing against these wars. Where is the anti-war left? It doesn't exist anymore. These corporate Democrats are bought by the same people that Republicans are. They get paid by the same defense contractors. And it's all about war. Look, this program, this drone program, the way that it was overseen was bad, immoral, destructive, and counterproductive. Creates more terror than it actually solves. And this was under President Obama. But under Donald Trump, it's gotten even worse. And I had the numbers to show you. Look, man, we got to end this. We got to end these unsanctioned drone strikes. If we're going to go to war with somebody, then at least we should have it declared through Congress first, so we can actually get it authorized, so we can actually make it official, instead of sending these drones over to kill people. And we've got to end the use of signature strikes. We have got to make sure that if we're going to use a drone at all, then we got to make sure that's exactly who we're going after before we go after them. And that there are no civilians in this area. That's it. Like I said, if you're going to use drones at all. But, like I said, we've got to end this. We've got to put a stop to this. And the best way to do that is to get people informed. Because most people you talk to, they don't even know we're in half these countries doing half of these things. They don't know about the atrocities that are committed in their name. And they'll use the excuse, the people in charge, no, we're just defending you. We're just defending you. What are some of those innocent people? How does bombing innocent people defend you? No, it creates more terror. It creates more terrorists. You bomb somebody's family in a wedding, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to radicalize, and then they're going to come after you. They're going to come after America. We don't want to do that. We got to stop creating terrorists in the first place. And again, the best way to do that is to actually let people know what the government is doing, so that we can put a stop to it. So we can stop voting for politicians that profit off endless war. And so we can stop believing in lies, the kind of lies that led us into Iraq in the first place, and the kind of lies that they're spreading about Syria right now. We've got to rise up, and we've got to stop endless war. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.